On the eve of the wedding, I ran into my fiancée and my best friend in the hotel. What's more terrifying is that she is 3 months pregnant. When I questioned them, they actually joined forces to push me down the stairs. When I woke up, I was already in prison charged with intentional homicide. 3 years later, I died in prison and realized that all this was their conspiracy. When I opened my eyes again, I was back to the eve of the wedding. This time, I will make them pay the price. Tomorrow is my wedding with Vivian. Holding her favorite white roses in my hand, I excitedly pushed open the door of the hotel suite. Vivian, I'll do. Before I finished speaking, I was completely stunned. On the bed, my fiancée Vivian was hugging a man tightly, and their clothes were scattered all over the floor. And that man turned out to be my good brother since childhood, Tyler. Pa. The bouquet in my hand fell to the ground, making a crisp sound. The two people on the bed were startled and hurriedly separated. Vivian saw me, her face turned pale instantly, and hurriedly covered her body with a quilt. Ethan, why are you here? Her voice was trembling, her eyes were full of fear. Tyler jumped off the bed and hurriedly put on his clothes. Brother, listen to my explanation. Explain? My voice was terribly low. What to explain? Explain how you two betrayed me? My fists were clenched tightly, and the veins were exposed. From childhood to adulthood, Tyler is my most trusted brother. We founded an architectural design company together and worked together for 5 years. Vivian is my girlfriend of 3 years and she will become my wife next month. But now, they actually betrayed me on the eve of the wedding. Ethan, things are not what you think. Vivian cried. Not what I think? I sneered, then tell me, what's going on? Tyler had already put on his clothes at this time. He walked in front of me with a trace of guilt on his face. Brother, we are really in love. Really in love? I felt like my chest was hit by a heavy hammer. When did you start? Vivian lowered her head, tears kept falling. 3 months ago. 3 months ago? I remembered that I was busy with a big project in the company at that time, and I often worked overtime until late at night. I also asked Tyler to help me take care of Vivian, fearing that she would be lonely. Unexpectedly, my kindness became an opportunity for them to betray me. And Vivian's voice became even smaller. I'm already 3 months pregnant. Boom. This sentence was like a bolt from the blue, completely crushing me. She was pregnant, and it was after we got engaged. Whose child is it? My voice was almost squeezed out from between my teeth. Vivian didn't dare to look me in the eye. It's Tyler's. I felt that the whole world was spinning. All relatives and friends will be present at tomorrow's wedding. I spent half a year preparing carefully, wanting to give her a perfect wedding. But she actually wanted to marry me while pregnant with someone else's child. What are you going to do? I tried to keep myself calm. Tyler came over and patted my shoulder. Brother, I know this is sorry for you, but we really love each other. Can you do what? Make you two happy? I pushed his hand away. You betrayed me and you still want me to make you happy? Ethan, calm down. Tyler's tone was a little impatient. Vivian is pregnant, I must be responsible for her. Responsible? What about me? I pointed at myself. What am I? You. Tyler hesitated. You will find someone better. Better? The woman I have been in love with for 3 years and are about to get married is pregnant with my brother's child. This betrayal, this humiliation, they actually want me to understand? What about tomorrow's wedding? I asked. Cancel it. Vivian whispered, I will explain to everyone. Explain? Explain what? Explain that the bride slept with someone else and got pregnant on the eve of the wedding? I imagined the expressions of all the guests tomorrow and the disappointment and anger of my parents. My reputation in this city will be completely ruined. Impossible. I gritted my teeth. This matter must not end like this. Tyler's face changed. Ethan, what do you want to do? I didn't answer and turned to leave. This matter must be resolved. I can't let them humiliate me like this. But the moment I turned around, I heard hurried footsteps behind me. Bang! A heavy object hit my head, and my eyes went black in an instant. I fell to the ground, and I vaguely saw Tyler holding a vase in his hand, and there was blood on the vase. Tyler, what are you doing? Vivian screamed. He won't let us go. Tyler said coldly, we must find a way. I want to speak but my head hurts so much that I can't speak. Then, what should I do? Vivian's voice was trembling. Simple. Tyler's voice was full of malice. Doesn't he want to end it? I'll give him an end. As he said that, he actually started to take off my clothes. I wanted to resist but my body was completely out of control and I could only watch his actions. What are you going to do? Vivian asked. Of course it was a good play. Tyler grinned. After Ethan found out about us, he was so beastly that he wanted to rape you. In order to protect you, I fought with him and accidentally pushed him down the stairs. Vivian took a breath. Is this okay? Of course it is. Tyler was confident. You have scars on your body, and he has scars on his body, which is completely consistent. And with his personality, he may indeed do something extreme after knowing this. They actually want to frame me. I tried my best to speak but I could only make vague sounds. Okay, don't pretend. Tyler squatted down and whispered in my ear, brother, don't blame me for being ruthless. If you want to blame someone, blame you for blocking my way. After that, he picked me up and walked towards the balcony. No. Don't. I shouted with my last strength. Unfortunately, it was too late. Bang. I fell from the 18th floor. Miraculously, I didn't die. It was night when I fell down. Below was the hotel garden, and the dense bushes cushioned the impact. I broke 2 ribs and ruptured my spleen, but I survived. When I woke up, I was already in the hospital. There were 2 policemen sitting by the bed. Mr. Ethan, are you awake? One of the policemen asked. I wanted to speak but my throat was dry as smoke. The nurse gave me some water, and I barely made a sound. I want to report the case. Report the case? The police sneered. Ethan, do you still want to quibble? Quibble? What do you mean? You are suspected of intentional injury and attempted rape, and you are now under criminal detention. Another policeman said. I understood instantly. Tyler's plan succeeded. No. I tried desperately to explain. They framed me. Framed? The police took out a transcript. Ms. Vivian has said it very clearly. After you found out that she was going to be with Tyler, you became beastly and wanted to rape her. Tyler fought with you to protect her and accidentally pushed you down the stairs. The scars on her body and the scratches on your body can prove this. I looked down at my arm and there were indeed a few scratches. That was done intentionally by Tyler. Also, we found Vivian's skin tissue under your fingernails. The police continued. I was completely desperate. This plot was so perfect that I couldn't refute it at all. I want to see a lawyer. I said. Okay. The police nodded, but you'd better cooperate with the investigation and strive for leniency. 3 days later, my injuries improved slightly and I was transferred to the detention center. In the detention center, I met my lawyer, the company's legal counsel Michael. Ethan, this matter is very troublesome. Michael said seriously, the evidence is very unfavorable to you. Michael, do you believe me? I really didn't do those things. Michael glanced at me. Ethan, I know you. But the question now is how to prove your innocence. What about surveillance? There should be surveillance in the hotel room, right? No. Michael shook his head. That's a luxury suite. In order to protect the privacy of guests, there is no surveillance installed in the room. My heart sank completely. Then, what about the company? Tyler has taken over. Michael said. He said he would help you manage the company and return it to you after you get out. Give it back to me? I smiled bitterly. Tyler went to great lengths to frame me just to seize control of the company. How could he possibly give it back to me? Also, Vivian has already made your breakup statement public. Michael continued. She said she discovered your true colors, so she decided to break up with you. Breakup statement? I was framed by them, and she actually wanted to humiliate me in public. Ethan, I suggest you plead guilty. Michael sighed. Strive for a lighter sentence. Plead guilty? Let me plead guilty to a trumped-up charge? Impossible. I said firmly, I will never plead guilty. Michael shook his head. Then you just wait for the court's verdict. A month later, the court opened. Vivian testified in court. She cried in the court, accusing me of crimes. Your Honor, Ethan is usually violent. She cried and said, I thought he would change after marriage, but I didn't expect him to rape me. Violent tendencies? When did I become violent? Also, he often drinks and beats me when he is drunk. Vivian continued to make up lies. In the audience of the court, I saw my parents. Their faces were full of disappointment and pain. I wanted to defend myself, but all the evidence was against me. In the end, the court sentenced me to 5 years in prison for intentional injury and attempted rape. The moment I heard the verdict, I was completely desperate. Life in the detention center is simply hell. Those prisoners knew that I was in there for attempted rape and often bullied me. I was beaten all over my body and lived in fear every day. What's more terrible is that news from outside kept coming. Tyler and Vivian have registered their marriage, and their child was born successfully. They took over my company and the business is booming. My parents couldn't bear the blow, and my mother got seriously ill. My father sold the house to treat her. When I heard the news in prison, my heart was broken. Not only did I lose everything, but I also implicated my parents. The next year, my mother passed away. When my father came to see me, he was already gray-haired. Son, Mom is gone. My father's voice was calm, but I could feel the pain in his heart. Dad, I'm sorry. I choked and said. Don't say sorry. My father shook his head. Dad believes you, you are not that kind of person. After hearing what my father said, I couldn't hold back and burst into tears. In the 3rd year, I learned that my father had also passed away. He died of exhaustion on the construction site. In order to pay off the hospital's debt, he worked 2 jobs. My world completely collapsed. Both my parents died because of me, but the real murderer was at large and lived a happy life. This pain and despair made me completely crazy. I started a hunger strike, wanting to end this painful life. The prison doctor tried to save me, but I didn't want to live anymore. Before I died, I heard what a cellmate said. Ethan, do you know? Vivian and Tyler's child is not Tyler's at all. What? I used my last bit of strength to open my eyes. I heard from my cousin, he works in the hospital. The cellmate continued, the child's DNA test report shows that the father is someone else. Tyler was also cheated. Vivian. Who is she? I wanted to ask more, but I had no strength left. My consciousness gradually blurred, and I left this world with endless hatred and unwillingness. Ethan. Get up quickly. A hurried shout came from my ear. I opened my eyes suddenly and found myself lying on a familiar bed. Is this my bedroom? I looked around and it was indeed my room. The photos hanging on the wall and the design drawings on the table were exactly the same as I remembered. Ethan, what's wrong with you? Wake up. A female voice sounded in my ear. I turned around and saw Vivian sitting by the bed, looking at me with worry. She was still so beautiful, with fair skin and clear eyes. But now I look at her and feel sick. Why are you here? I asked. Why are you here? Vivian looked at me strangely. Tomorrow is our wedding, of course I have to be here. Wedding? I sat up suddenly and picked up the calendar on the bedside. May 18, 2024. This date is the day before I found out that they cheated. Am I reborn? I went back to that damn night. Ethan, why do you look so bad? Did you have a nightmare? Vivian asked with concern. Nightmare? Yes, those 3 years in prison were a nightmare. I looked at Vivian's face, and a huge anger surged in my heart. This woman, on the surface, looks pure and kind, but in fact, she is vicious. Not only did she betray me, she also framed me with Tyler and killed my parents. I'm fine. I tried to make myself look normal, I'm just a little nervous. What are you nervous about? Vivian said with a smile, tomorrow we will be husband and wife, I'm excited just thinking about it. Husband and wife? I sneered in my heart. She is pregnant with someone else's child now and she still has the nerve to say that she wants to be husband and wife with me? Vivian, I want to ask you a question. I stared into her eyes. What question? Have you felt unwell recently? For example, nausea, vomiting, etc.? Vivian's face changed slightly but soon returned to normal. No, I'm in good health. Why do you ask this suddenly? She was lying. According to my memory from my previous life, she is now 3 months pregnant. How can a woman who is 3 months pregnant not have pregnancy reactions? Nothing, I just care about you. I said as if nothing had happened. You are so nice. Vivian kissed my cheek, I'm going to take a shower, you should rest early. Watching her back as she walked towards the bathroom, the anger in my heart burned more and more. This hypocritical woman is still acting. After the sound of water came from the bathroom, I picked up my phone and dialed a number. Hello, Rachel? It's me, Ethan. Rachel is my friend, an obstetrician and gynecologist at the Municipal People's Hospital. Ethan? What's the matter so late? I want to ask you for a favor. I lowered my voice and said, can you help me check someone's examination record? Who? Vivian, my fiancée. Why check her? Rachel was a little confused. She hasn't been feeling well recently and I suspect she might be pregnant but she didn't tell me. I made up a reason. This isn't appropriate. Rachel hesitated. Rachel, we have been friends for many years, just help me this time. I begged. I am really worried about her. Okay, I will help you check it tomorrow. Rachel finally agreed. Thank you. After hanging up the phone, I began to plan the next action. Since I was reborn, I must not let the tragedy of my previous life happen again. This time, I will make Vivian and Tyler pay the price. Half an hour later, Vivian came out of the shower. She was wearing a silk pajamas and looked very attractive. But I only felt disgust towards her now. Ethan, tonight we. She walked to my side, her voice very gentle. No. I rejected her, tomorrow is a big day, I need to keep my strength tonight. Vivian looked a little disappointed but didn't say much. Then you should rest early, I'll go back first. Okay, be careful on the road. After sending Vivian away, I took action immediately. According to my memory of my previous life, they will have a tryst in the presidential suite of the Crown Hotel tonight. I want to take pictures of the evidence myself. I drove to the Crown Hotel and sneaked into the 18th floor. The presidential suite is at the end of the corridor. I hid in the security passage and waited patiently. Sure enough, about half an hour later, Vivian appeared. She looked around furtively and after confirming that there was no one, she walked towards the presidential suite. 10 minutes later, Tyler also came. He swiped his card directly into the room. I waited for a while to make sure they started moving before quietly walking to the door. The door of the room was not completely closed, leaving a gap. I looked through the gap and saw a scene that made me angry. Vivian and Tyler were hugging each other tightly and kissing passionately. "Baby, Ethan is going to marry you tomorrow. I can't bear to leave you," Tyler said. "I can't bear to leave you either," Vivian responded, "but there is no way, we have to do this." "Why do you have to marry him?" Tyler asked. "Because he's rich." Vivian sneered. "His company is worth tens of millions, and he has a house and a car. If I marry him, I won't have to worry about anything." "What about me?" "You are my lover." Vivian kissed him. "After I get his property, we can be together." "But our child?" "Of course the child is yours." Vivian touched her belly. "But outsiders will think it's Ethan's." Hearing these words, my heart was completely cold. It turned out that she came for my money from the beginning. Moreover, she had planned to cheat me long ago. I suppressed my anger and took out my mobile phone to start recording. These evidences will be my weapon to fight back. I recorded the video outside the door for nearly an hour. The conversation between Vivian and Tyler completely exposed their true colors. "Ethan, that fool, thought I really loved him," Vivian said with a sneer while lying in Tyler's arms. "He was really stupid." Tyler also laughed. "He actually gave me all the shares of the company." "What? Company shares?" I remembered that half a year ago, in order to show my trust in Tyler, I did transfer 49% of the company's shares to him. At that time, I thought we were brothers and doing so would motivate him to work better. Unexpectedly, this became their tool. After we get married, I will find a way to get him to transfer the remaining shares to me. Vivian continued. "Then you can find a way to take it away." "How to take it away?" "Simple." Vivian's voice was full of venom. "Find an opportunity to frame him and put him in jail. Then the shares will naturally be ours." "Frame me?" I remembered the experience in my previous life. They did it. "Then, what if he finds out about our relationship?" Tyler was a little worried. "No," Vivian said confidently, "he trusts us too much. Even if he finds out, we have a way to deal with it." "What way?" "Then say that he wanted to rape me and you fought him to protect me." Vivian's tone was light, as if she was talking about something insignificant. "Is this okay?" "Of course." Vivian sneered. "Men are animals who think with their lower body. Who would not believe it?" Hearing this, I have recorded enough. These evidences are enough to prove their malicious intentions. I quietly left the hotel and returned home. I stayed up all night thinking about how to use these evidences. If I publish the evidence now, they will definitely jump off the wall. With Vivian's personality, she is likely to bite back and say that these videos are fake. I must think of a more perfect plan. The next morning, Rachel called me. "Ethan, I found it." Rachel's voice was a little serious. "Vivian is indeed pregnant, and it has been 3 months. Although I knew this result a long time ago, I was still very angry when I heard the confirmation. There is one more thing," Rachel continued. "She has done a DNA test, and the father of the child is not you." "What?" I pretended to be shocked. "The test report shows that the biological father of the child is a man named Tyler." "Tyler." I uttered the name through gritted teeth. "Ethan, are you okay?" Rachel asked with concern. I need to calm down." I said. "Rachel, can you send me the test report?" "Sure, I'll send it to you now." A few minutes later, I received the DNA test report. It was written in black and white. Tyler is the biological father of the child. With this report, plus the video from last night, I have enough evidence. At 10 o'clock in the morning, I received a call from Vivian. "Ethan, where are you? The wedding is about to start." Her voice was anxious. I'm in the hotel. I said, where are you now? I'm in the dressing room, putting on makeup. Okay, I'll be there right away. I drove to the wedding hotel. This is a 5-star hotel we carefully selected, and more than 300 guests were invited. My parents have arrived and are entertaining the guests. Seeing their smiling faces, my heart ached. In the last life, they were angry and disappointed because of my crime, and eventually died of depression. In this life, I will never let the tragedy happen again. Son, you're here. Mother came over. Why do you look so bad? Are you nervous? Mom, I'm fine. I forced a smile. The groom is always nervous. Father also came over. Relax, today is your big day. Big day? Yes, today is indeed a big day. It's the big day for me to get revenge. Mom and Dad, you go and have a rest first. The wedding will start soon. After seeing my parents off, I came to Vivian's dressing room. She was sitting in front of the mirror, and the makeup artist was making the final touches for her. With a white wedding dress and delicate makeup, she looked as beautiful as an angel. But I know that her heart is darker than the devil. Husband, you're here. Vivian saw me and smiled sweetly. Husband? Hearing this address, I almost couldn't help but rush up to tear off her disguise. Vivian, you're so beautiful. I resisted the nausea and acted with her. Thank you for your compliment, husband. She lowered her head shyly. Makeup artist, can we be alone for a while? I said to the makeup artist. Of course. The makeup artist left tactfully. Vivian and I were the only ones left in the room. Honey, do you have anything to say to me? Vivian looked at me expectantly. There was indeed something to say. I took out my phone from my pocket. I want you to watch a video. What video? I clicked on the video I recorded last night and put it in front of her. In the video, she and Tyler were kissing passionately. The moment she saw the video, Vivian's face turned pale. What is this? She asked stutteringly. What do you say this is? I looked at her coldly. My good fiancé. Ethan, listen to my explanation. Explain? I interrupted her. Explain that you want to marry me while pregnant with someone else's child? Vivian was completely panicked. You know everything? Yes, I know everything. I took out the DNA test report, including this. After seeing the test report, Vivian was completely desperate. She knew that everything was exposed. Ethan, I can explain. She still wanted to struggle. No need to explain. I stood up. The game is over, Vivian. What do you want? Her voice began to tremble. What do I want? I sneered. Of course, let everyone see your true face. No. You can't do this. Vivian suddenly knelt down. Ethan, please don't destroy me. Looking at her kneeling on the ground begging for mercy, I didn't have a trace of sympathy in my heart. Think about how she treated me in the last life. Think about how my parents died. This woman doesn't deserve any mercy. Ethan. I beg you, don't publish this. Vivian cried and hugged my legs. I can give you money, a lot of money. Money? I looked down at her. Am I short of money? Then what do you want? What I want is very simple. I squatted down and looked at her at eye level. I want you to pay the price. What price? Everything you have done to me, I will pay you back double. Vivian saw the hatred in my eyes and her body trembled involuntarily. Ethan, what do you know? Know what? I know too much. I know how you will frame me. I know I will spend 3 years in prison. I know my parents will die because of me. But I can't say these words now. I know all your plans. I stood up, including how you plan to frame me. Vivian's face changed drastically. What are you talking about? Don't pretend. I sneered. I have all the recordings from last night, including the part where you said you wanted to frame me and put me in jail." Hearing this, Vivian completely collapsed. She knew that all her plans were exposed. "Now, you have two choices." I looked at her and said, "Either I will publish these evidences now and let everyone see your true face. Or, you do as I say." What do you want me to do?" "It's very simple." I sneered, "Today's wedding will go on as usual, but you have to confess your crime in front of all the guests." "What?" Vivian looked at me in disbelief. "You want me to admit to cheating at the wedding?" "Yes." I nodded. "And you have to tell me all your plans with Tyler." "Impossible." Vivian shook her head excitedly. "I'm done for." "You were done for anyway." I said coldly, "The only difference is whether you are willing to die decently or be dragged out by me to die." Vivian stared at me for a long time, as if trying to see a hint of relaxation on my face. But she was disappointed. "I am determined and will never change." "If I do what you say, can you let me go?" She finally struggled and asked. "That depends on your performance." I said, "If you perform well, I can consider not pursuing your criminal responsibility." Of course I lied to her. How could I let her go? The revenge of the previous life must be avenged. Okay. Vivian finally gave in. "I promise you." "Very good." I nodded with satisfaction. "Remember, you have to explain everything clearly on the stage later. Not a single word can be missing." I know." At this time, the makeup artist knocked on the door and came in. "Vivian, the wedding is about to start. Are you ready?" "Ready," I answered for Vivian. When I arrived at the wedding scene, I saw Tyler. He was wearing a brand-name suit and chatting with guests, looking very energetic. When he saw me, he came over immediately. "Brother, today is your big day, congratulations." He patted my shoulder enthusiastically. "Thank you." I responded expressionlessly. "What's wrong? You don't look very happy?" Tyler asked with concern. "Nothing, just a little nervous." "What are you nervous about?" Tyler said with a smile, "Marrying a wife is not like going to the execution ground." Going to the execution ground? He was right. Someone was going to the execution ground today. It's just that it wasn't me, but them. "By the way, after the wedding, let's have a good drink together," Tyler said. "Okay." I nodded. "We'll have a good chat then." The wedding MC began to preside over the ceremony. "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the wedding of Mr. Ethan and Miss Vivian." The guests in the audience were very excited and applauded. My parents sat in the first row, with happy smiles on their faces. Looking at their smiles, I felt sad. But in order to give them an explanation, I had to do this. "Now, please invite the bride and groom to the stage to exchange rings," the MC said. Vivian and I walked onto the stage. Vivian's face was very ugly, and her hands were shaking constantly. "Ladies and gentlemen, before exchanging rings, the bride has something to say to everyone," I said into the microphone. The guests in the audience were very confused. This was not a normal wedding process. "Vivian, do you have anything to say?" The MC was also a little confused. Vivian glanced at me and I nodded at her. She picked up the microphone and said in a trembling voice, "Dear friends and relatives, I have something to tell you." The audience instantly became quiet, and everyone was waiting for her to continue. I betrayed Ethan." Vivian said the first sentence. This sentence was like a bomb, and the audience instantly exploded. "What? Betrayal? What happened?" The guests talked about it. My parents' faces changed drastically, and my mother almost fainted. I had an improper relationship with Tyler, and I was pregnant with his child. Vivian continued. The discussion in the audience became louder. Everyone looked at Tyler. Tyler's face turned pale instantly, and he wanted to leave, but was surrounded by the guests. Moreover, Vivian's voice trembled even more. We also plan to defraud Ethan's property and even want to frame him for jail. This sentence completely ignited the scene. The guests looked at Vivian and Tyler angrily, and some even began to scold them. Too shameless. How could there be such a person? Ethan is so pitiful. I looked at the angry crowd below the stage, and a sense of pleasure surged in my heart. This has just begun. Seeing the chaos on the scene, the MC wanted to control the situation, but he couldn't control it at all. The guests below the stage were indignant and accused Vivian and Tyler one after another. Vivian, how could you do this to Ethan? Too shameless. Tyler, are you still a human being? Betray your brother. Facing the accusations of the crowd, Tyler finally couldn't sit still. He pushed away the crowd that surrounded him and rushed onto the stage. Enough. He grabbed the microphone. Vivian, what are you talking about? I'm not talking nonsense. Vivian was scared but still insisted, these are all true. Really? Tyler sneered, don't believe her, she has mental problems. After that, he turned to me, brother, don't believe her either, she is slandering us. Slander? I looked at Tyler coldly, is that so? Then explain this. I took out my phone and played the video recorded last night. In the video, the intimate embrace of Vivian and Tyler is clearly visible. The scene instantly became quiet, and everyone stared at the big screen. Seeing the video, Tyler's face became even uglier. This video is fake. He argued. Fake? I took out the DNA test report again, is this one fake too? I held up the test report so that everyone could see it. This is the DNA test report issued by the hospital, proving that the child in Vivian's belly is Tyler's. The scene was boiling again. With the video and the test report as evidence, no one doubted the authenticity of the matter. Tyler, what else do you have to say? A guest asked angrily. Tyler knew that quibbling was useless, so he simply broke the jar. Yes, so what? He sneered and said, Vivian and I are truly in love, what have we done wrong? Really in love? I sneered, then let everyone hear your true words again. I played the audio recorded last night. In the audio, Vivian said she married me just for money, Tyler said he wanted to take over my company, and they planned to frame me and put me in jail. After hearing these audios, the guests at the scene were completely furious. Too despicable. This kind of people are simply not human. Ethan, you must sue them. My parents also heard the audio, and they looked at Vivian and Tyler in shock. Beast. My father pointed at Tyler angrily, our family treats you as a family member, and you treat us like this. My mother was so angry that she trembled all over. Vivian, I am so blind that I actually treated you as my daughter. Faced with the condemnation of the crowd, Vivian completely collapsed. She knelt on the stage and cried bitterly. I was wrong, I was really wrong. Ethan, please forgive me. Forgive? I looked at her, and there was only coldness in my heart. In my previous life, she didn't give me a chance to beg for mercy. Want to beg for mercy now? It's too late. Forgive you? I walked up to her, do you know what consequences your plan will bring? What consequences? If I hadn't found out, you would have framed me as planned. My voice was full of anger, I would have gone to jail and my parents would have died because they couldn't bear the blow. Hearing this, the guests at the scene became even more angry. Too cruel. This kind of person should go to jail. Seeing that the situation was not good, Tyler wanted to escape but was stopped by several young guests. Want to run? No way. No one can let them run away today. At this time, the hotel security personnel also rushed to the scene. Everyone, please stay calm, we have called the police. The security captain said. Call the police? Very good, this is exactly what I want. However, before the police arrive, I still have things to do. Dear relatives and friends, I picked up the microphone and said to the audience, today's wedding ends here. Thank you all for coming. For Vivian and Tyler's behavior, I will resolve it through legal means. At the same time, I also want to thank them for letting me see their true colors and avoid greater losses. There was warm applause from the audience. Ethan, you did the right thing. They must pay the price. At this time, the police arrived. Who is the reporter? The police asked. I am. I walked towards the police. There is a fraud case and false accusation case that needs to be handled. I handed all the evidence to the police. Video, audio, DNA test report, and their on-site confession. The chain of evidence is complete and the evidence is as strong as a mountain. Vivian, Tyler, you are suspected of fraud and false accusation, and you are arrested now. The police said. Seeing the police take out handcuffs, Vivian was completely desperate. Ethan, please, for the sake of our 3-year relationship, please save me. She cried and begged for mercy. 3-year relationship? What 3-year relationship? It's all fake. Take them away. I said coldly. The police handcuffed Vivian and Tyler and took them away from the scene. Watching them being taken away, I felt a surge of satisfaction in my heart. This is the fate of betraying me. But this is not enough, I want them to pay a greater price. After the police took Vivian and Tyler away, the wedding scene gradually returned to calm. The guests left one after another and expressed their sympathy and support for me before leaving. Ethan, you have to be strong. You will meet better people in the future. It's better not to have such a woman. I thanked everyone for their concern one by one. In the end, only my parents and I were left at the scene. My father came over and patted my shoulder. Son, you did the right thing. Dad, I'm sorry, I let you down. I felt a little guilty. What are you disappointed about? My mother came over, she is sorry for us, not you. Mom is right. My father nodded, it's better to find such a woman as soon as possible. Looking at my parents' understanding and supportive eyes, my heart was warm. In this life, I must protect them well. Mom and Dad, let's go home. Okay, go home. After returning home, I started to deal with the follow-up matters. First, I want to take back control of the company. Although Tyler was arrested, he still has 49% of the shares. According to the law, he obtained these shares through fraudulent means and should be able to get them back. I immediately contacted a lawyer. Michael, I need you to help me with something. What is it? I told Michael the situation in detail. That's it. Michael said after listening, this is indeed a fraudulent act, and the share transfer should be invalid. Then what do I need to do? I will help you draft a lawsuit and apply to the court to revoke the share transfer agreement. Okay, thank you. After dealing with the company's affairs, I started to think about other issues. Although Vivian and Tyler were arrested, what about their families? Did their families also participate in this conspiracy? I remembered my experience in my previous life. Vivian's parents testified for her in court, saying that I usually have violent tendencies. Tyler's family also provided him with false testimony. These people are not innocent. In this case, I will not show mercy. The next day, I went to the police station. Officer, I need to add some information. I said to the officer in charge of the case. What is it? About Vivian and Tyler's accomplices. I told the police officer about Vivian's parents and Tyler's family. Although I don't have direct evidence of their involvement yet, I know that they will be exposed sooner or later. I will investigate. The police nodded and said. After leaving the police station, I went directly to the company. The employees in the company already knew what happened yesterday. Seeing me, everyone sympathized. President Ethan, are you okay? President Ethan, we all support you. Thank you everyone. I said to the employees, the company will operate normally, don't worry. I called a meeting of the company's senior management. Everyone knows about Tyler's affairs. I said straight to the point, from today, he is no longer a shareholder and executive of the company. President Ethan, what about the project he is responsible for? Asked the financial director. Reassign. I said, all the projects he has been involved in need to be reviewed again. I was worried that Tyler had tampered with these projects. Sure enough, after reviewing, we found the problem. Tyler falsely reported costs in several projects and transferred company funds privately. The amount involved was more than $3 million. I immediately submitted the evidence to the police. Now, Tyler was charged with one more crime, embezzlement of company funds. A week later, Vivian and Tyler were formally indicted. On the day of the court hearing, I testified in court as a victim. Seeing Vivian and Tyler in the dock, I felt no ripples in my heart. They should pay for their actions. Defendants Vivian and Tyler, you are suspected of fraud, false accusation, and embezzlement of funds. The judge read out the indictment. Vivian kept crying in the dock, but no one sympathized with her. Tyler had a gloomy face and hatred in his eyes. He looked at me from time to time, full of resentment. But I don't care. No matter how much he hates me, it can't change the result. Now please let the plaintiff's lawyer speak. The judge said. My lawyer stood up and described the case in detail. Video, audio, DNA test report, every piece of evidence is conclusive. When it was the defendant's lawyer's turn to defend Vivian and Tyler, they couldn't find a strong defense at all. The evidence was too conclusive and could not be refuted at all. Does the defendant have anything to say? The judge asked. Vivian stood up and cried, Your Honor, I know I was wrong. I am willing to compensate Ethan for his losses. Please give me a light sentence. Light sentence? Dream on. Tyler also stood up, but his attitude was very tough. Your Honor, I don't plead guilty. He said, Vivian and I do have feelings, but this does not constitute a crime. How do you explain the misappropriation of company funds? The judge asked. That was an investment, and I was going to pay it back. Tyler argued. Investment? The judge sneered, invest in your own account? Tyler had nothing to say. After a day of trial, the court announced a recess and the verdict would be announced on a later date. When walking out of the court, Tyler suddenly shouted, Ethan, don't be too proud. I won't let you go. I looked back at him and said coldly, I'll wait. A month later, the court announced the verdict. Vivian was sentenced to 3 years in prison for fraud and false accusation. Tyler was sentenced to 5 years in prison for fraud, false accusation, and misappropriation of funds. I felt happy when I heard the verdict. Justice has finally been served. But I know that this is not enough. Vivian and Tyler's family have not received the punishment they deserve. Sure enough, the day after the verdict, Vivian's parents found my company. Ethan, why did you do this to Vivian? Vivian's mother Susan asked me crying. What did she do wrong? Didn't she just stop loving you? Why did you destroy her? Don't love me? This woman actually said that fraud means not loving me? Aunt Zhang, you need to understand the situation before you speak. I said coldly. It was your daughter who defrauded me, not me who ruined her. What fraud? Vivian's father James also stood up. Vivian just fell in love with someone else, how can this be called fraud? Falling in love with someone else? They actually turned black and white to such an extent. Look at this. I took out my mobile phone and played the audio recorded that day. In the audio, Vivian clearly said that she married me just for money. Hearing the audio, James and Susan's faces changed. This audio is fake. Susan argued forcefully. Fake? I sneered, the court has determined it, and you say it is fake? Even if it is true, so what? James suddenly changed his face. If you have money, who do you spend it on if you don't spend it on your girlfriend? Besides, Vivian has been with you for 3 years, you should give her some compensation, right? Compensation? They even want money. How much do you want? I asked curiously. Not much. Susan's eyes flashed with greed. Just give me 500,000. 500,000? This family is so shameless. What if I don't give it? I asked. No? James threatened, then we will go to your company and make trouble so that you can't do business. And we will tell everyone how you framed Vivian. Framed? What did I frame her for? It was just that what she did was exposed. Go ahead if you want to make trouble. I stood up. There is a surveillance camera at the entrance of my company. If you dare to make trouble, I will call the police. You. James was so angry that he couldn't speak. Also, if you dare to spread rumors and slander me, I will sue you for defamation. I continued, please leave my company now, or I will call security. Seeing my firm attitude, James and Susan knew that there was no hope and could only leave in disappointment. However, I knew they would not give up. Sure enough, the next day they brought a group of people to the door of my company to make trouble. Everyone, come and see, this is the black-hearted boss who framed my daughter. Susan shouted to passers-by. My daughter just didn't love him anymore, so he took revenge on my daughter and sent her to jail. The passers-by heard it and talked about it. Really? This man doesn't look like a bad person. People nowadays have such a strong desire for revenge. I stood upstairs in the company, watching the farce downstairs, and my heart was calm. They wanted to make trouble, let them make a scene. The truth will eventually come out. I picked up the phone and called several media outlets. I have a piece of news here, are you interested? Half an hour later, several media outlets came. Reporters began to interview James and Susan. Excuse me, you said Ethan framed your daughter, do you have any evidence? Evidence? Susan was stunned, what more evidence do you need? My daughter is in prison now, this is the evidence. But according to our understanding, your daughter was imprisoned for fraud. The reporter continued to ask, what does this have to do with framing? What fraud? James said excitedly, my daughter just doesn't love him anymore and chose someone else, how can this be called fraud? Then may I ask, your daughter is pregnant with someone else's child and wants to marry Ethan, what is this? Hearing this question, James and Susan were stunned. They obviously didn't expect the reporter to ask so directly. This. Susan stammered and couldn't speak. Moreover, according to the court's verdict, your daughter admitted that she and Tyler planned to defraud Ethan's property, and even want to frame him and put him in jail. The reporter continued to ask, how do you explain this? I don't know. Faced with the reporter's questioning, James and Susan were completely speechless. They just wanted to make trouble and extort money, and never thought that there would be reporters to interview. Now, their ignorance and greed are exposed to the public. The reporter interviewed me again. Ethan, how do you respond to their accusations? I have nothing to respond to. I said calmly, facts are facts, and the court's verdict has explained everything. What do you think of their behavior today? I understand their feelings as parents, but they should educate their daughter to be an honest person instead of coming here to make trouble. That night, the news was broadcast. On TV, James and Susan's performance made the audience see their true colors. The comments on the internet overwhelmingly supported me. What kind of good daughter can such parents teach? It's obviously their daughter who did something wrong, but they still come to make trouble. How shameless. Ethan did the right thing, such people should not be indulged. Seeing the reaction of public opinion, James and Susan never dared to make trouble again. However, their story is not over yet. Through investigation, I found that Vivian had asked me for money many times for various reasons during her relationship with me. buying clothes, buying cosmetics, and treating friends to dinner, all in total, more than $300,000. She transferred all this money to Tyler. I submitted this evidence to the police and requested additional charges against Vivian. At the same time, I also found that James and Susan knew about the relationship between their daughter and Tyler. But in order to continue to get money from me, they chose to conceal it. This constituted an accomplice to the fraud. Soon, James and Susan were also summoned by the police. Faced with solid evidence, they had to admit their actions. In the end, James was sentenced to 1 year in prison and Susan was sentenced to 6 months in prison. So far, the 3 members of the Vivian family have received the punishment they deserve. But I am not satisfied yet. Tyler's family will also pay the price. After Tyler was sentenced, his family was not idle. His father David was a small contractor and his mother Monica sold vegetables in the vegetable market. When they learned that their son was sentenced, their first reaction was not reflection, but resentment. Resentment that I ruined their son's future. One night, on my way home from get off work, I was suddenly stopped by several people. "Are you Ethan?" asked a strong man in the lead. "I am. What's the matter with you?" "Nothing, just someone asked us to teach you a lesson." The strong man sneered. I immediately understood that this was hired by the Tyler family. "How much?" I asked. "What do you mean by how much?" The sturdy man was stunned. "I mean, how much money did they give you to beat me?" I asked calmly. "I'll pay double, how about you do me a favor?" When they heard the double money, several people's eyes lit up. "What favor?" "It's very simple, you go to the people who hired you and tell them that I have been taught a lesson by you." I said then, "You help me record a voice and record what they say." Several people looked at each other and finally agreed. After all, you can get double the money and don't have to fight, so why not? The next day, these people sent me the recording. In the recording, David clearly said, "Good fight. This kind of person should be taught a lesson. It's better to beat him to a pulp." Monica also said, "That's it. You ruined my son, and I will ruin him too." With this recording, I called the police immediately. Hiring someone to hurt someone is a felony. The police quickly arrested David and Monica. Faced with the recording evidence, they could not deny it. In the end, David was sentenced to 2 years in prison and Monica was sentenced to 1.5 years in prison. So far, the Tyler family has paid the price. But my revenge is not over yet. I began to investigate Tyler and Vivian's other accomplices in the company. After in-depth investigation, I found that Lisa, a financial staff member of the company, was also involved in their plan. Lisa was Tyler's insider in the finance department, and she helped Tyler transfer company funds. Moreover, she also tampered with financial records to cover up Tyler's criminal behavior. I submitted this evidence to the police and Lisa was also arrested. After the internal cleansing of the company came to an end, I began to rebuild the company's management system. I promoted several loyal and reliable employees and strengthened internal supervision. At the same time, I also began to expand the company's business. After losing Tyler, this burden has made the company develop faster. Half a year later, the company's turnover increased by 30% compared with the same period last year. The employees were very happy. "President Ethan, your decision was so wise." "That's right, that kind of person staying in the company is a disaster. Now the atmosphere in the company is much better. I am very satisfied watching the company's thriving development. This is the result I want." Not only did I get revenge, but I also made the company better. A year later, the news of Vivian and Tyler in prison came out. It is said that Vivian had mental problems because she could not adapt to prison life. She often talked to herself and said that she wanted to take revenge on me. Tyler's situation was slightly better, but it was not easy either. He was bullied by other prisoners in prison and was often beaten. Hearing this news, I didn't have a trace of sympathy in my heart. This is the price of betrayal. One day, I was processing documents in the office, and the secretary suddenly came in to report. President Ethan, a lady wants to see you. What lady? She said her name was Sophia, a new designer, and wanted to talk to you about cooperation. Sophia? I thought about it, but I had no impression. Let her in. A few minutes later, a young and beautiful girl came in. She was about 25 or 26 years old, wearing a simple business suit, and looked very elegant. President Ethan, hello, I'm Sophia. She extended her hand to me politely. Hello, Sophia. I shook her hand. Please sit down. Thank you. After Sophia sat down, she took out a design plan. President Ethan, I heard that your company is recruiting designers. I want to apply. I took the design plan and looked at it carefully. I have to say that her design is very creative and practical. Sophia, your design is very good. I praised. Where did you work before? I am a returnee, just came back from abroad. Sophia said, I used to work in a design company in London. Why do you want to return to China for development? Although overseas is good, it is not home after all. Sophia said with a smile, besides, I heard that your company has great prospects, so I want to give it a try. After chatting with Sophia for an hour, I had a very good impression of her. She is not only professionally capable, but also has a good character. Most importantly, her eyes are pure, unlike Vivian, who is full of calculations. Sophia, our company welcomes you to join. I said, when can you start working? Anytime. Sophia said happily. In this way, Sophia joined my company. In the next few months, she performed very well. Several projects she designed were highly recognized by customers and brought a lot of profits to the company. Moreover, she is humble and gets along well with her colleagues. Slowly, I found that I began to like this girl. She is completely different from Vivian. Vivian is hypocritical, greedy, and vicious, while Sophia is sincere, kind, and pure. But I dare not start a new relationship easily. Vivian's betrayal left me with too deep a shadow. I was afraid of being deceived and hurt again. One weekend a month later, the company organized a team-building activity. We went to a resort in the suburbs and planned to relax. During the event, Sophia took the initiative to sit next to me. President Ethan, you look worried. She asked with concern. Nothing, just work. I perfunctorily said. Is it because of the previous incident? Sophia asked directly. I was stunned for a moment. What is it? Vivian's matter. Sophia said, I heard from my colleagues that she betrayed you. When I heard Vivian's name, my face changed. Sophia, these things are over. Is it over? Sophia looked into my eyes. If it is really over, why are you still so indifferent? Indifferent? Am I indifferent? President Ethan, I know you have been hurt, but you can't deny all women because of a bad woman. Sophia said seriously, there are still many people in this world who truly love you. Hearing her words, a warm current surged in my heart. Sophia, thank you for your concern, I said, but I'm not ready to start a new relationship now. I'm not asking you to start a new relationship now. Sophia smiled and said, I just hope you can open your heart and don't close yourself off. And, she continued, if one day you are willing to try, I hope you can consider me. After saying this, Sophia blushed. I was touched by her frankness. Sophia. Don't answer me now. Sophia interrupted me, wait until you think about it. That night, I lay in bed and thought for a long time. Sophia was right, I can't deny all women because of Vivian's betrayal. Moreover, Sophia is indeed a good girl. If I miss her, I may regret it for the rest of my life. The next day, I asked Sophia out for coffee. Sophia, about what you said yesterday. I said. You don't have to feel pressured. Sophia said with a smile, I just expressed my feelings, and the result doesn't matter. No, I want to try. I said seriously, if you want, we can try to date. Hearing my words, Sophia's eyes lit up. Really? Really? I nodded, but I have a request. What request? We have to take it slow. I need time to understand you and time to believe in love again. No problem. Sophia agreed readily, I can wait. In this way, Sophia and I started dating. Unlike Vivian, Sophia never asked me to buy expensive gifts or take her to high-end restaurants. She prefers us to walk together, watch movies together, and chat together. She said that as long as she is with me, she will be happy to do anything. During the time I spent with her, I gradually let go of my hatred for Vivian. I began to believe that there are indeed people in this world who truly love me. 6 months later, I proposed to Sophia. This time, I didn't hold a grand wedding, but only invited both parents and a few good friends. It was simple, warm, but very real. At the wedding, I said to Sophia, "Thank you for making me believe in love again." Sophia said with tears in her eyes, "Thank you for giving me the opportunity to prove true love." The parents in the audience were very happy. They said that they chose the right person this time. Their married life is very happy. Sophia is considerate and gentle, and we rarely quarrel. The company's business is getting better and better, and we moved into a larger office building. A year later, Sophia was pregnant. When I learned the news, I was so excited that I didn't know what to say. This child is the fruit of our love and a child that truly belongs to me. Unlike the bastard in Vivian's belly. After the child was born, it was a lovely boy. I named him Andrew, hoping that he would be safe and happy throughout his life. The moment I held my son, I remembered my experience in my previous life. If I hadn't been reborn, I might still be in prison now, and my parents would have passed away. It was rebirth that gave me a second chance, allowed me to take revenge, and also allowed me to meet true love. Now, I have a wife who loves me, a lovely son, healthy parents, and a successful career. This is the life I want. As for Vivian and Tyler, they are still serving their sentences in prison. I heard that Vivian's mental problems are getting worse and worse, and she has been transferred to a mental hospital. Tyler is not much better, his legs were broken in prison, and now he is a cripple. This is the price of betrayal. Sometimes, I wonder what would happen if I hadn't been born again. I would spend 3 years in prison, my parents would die because of me, and the real criminals would be at large. Thinking of this, I cherish my current life even more. I will spend the rest of my life taking good care of my family and running my business well. Let those who have hurt me see that I am living 1,000 times, 10,000 times better than them. This is the best revenge.